Got great news, people. And I'm being serious about that one. Normally, it's kind of like a sarcastic lead in, but this time it's a completely sincere lead in. I am happy to be the one to tell you that against all odds, the Portland protesters won. The Department of Homeland Security is pulling out federal troops in Portland. Yeah. No, yeah, no, Pog. No, reel it in. Absolutely. They are pulling out federal officers. So, to give you guys a clean recap of what happened, essentially, following the death of George Floyd, protests broke out across the nation. One of those protests was in Portland. Portland's always been the city of Portland has a lot of progressive people in it, though the city's political makeup is a lot more complicated than that. And initially, the Portland protesters duked it out with police, but the protests continued in large part because the mayor of Portland and the governor of Oregon are both not hardline Republicans who would just want to crack down on the protesters. I'm not saying they're great. I'm not saying they're comrades or anything like that. I'm just saying they're more tolerant than they could be. They're libs. However, Trump didn't like this because it made him sort of by proxy look weak. So Trump deployed agents of the Department of Homeland Security into Portland. You see, Portland is a coastal city, kind of. Actually, not really. It turns out the Department of Homeland Security has federal authority to deploy officers to quote-unquote border towns. But a border town is any town within 100 miles of a border or of the coastline. And Portland is within 100 miles of the Pacific Ocean. I know, 100 miles. Yeah, border town, Portland, Oregon. I know. So using that flimsy legal justification, excuse me, sorry. It's caught on the damn rug. Using that flimsy legal justification, Department of Homeland Security officials were deployed. Now, technically, the actual federal officers that protesters encountered there were a makeup of different federal organizations that operated, speaking colloquially, basically like mercenaries, with very, very, very little oversight. And that's kind of what we've seen there. I did an interview just 2 days ago with a journalist who's been recording the interactions between the protesters and the federal police, who have been wildly overusing tear gas, who have been black bagging and abducting protesters to steal their personal info and then dump them out of unmarked vans. Just beyond the pale shit. Beyond the pale shit. Now, the behavior of the federal officers landed them condemnations from legal officials and a bunch of lawsuits. Most notably, a few days ago, a judge barred the use of force or arrest against peaceful onlookers or journalists on the part of the federal agents. And you know what the federal agents did? Absolutely nothing. They did not change their behavior at all. So force and arrests continued to take place against journalists and against peaceful onlookers. However, because we do live in a society of laws, sometimes, this incurred further consequences. The heat was beginning to build. And about 5 hours ago, Trump has announced that he will be retracting the federal agents from Portland. Now, there are some caveats to this. They're not being taken away immediately. They are instead being phased out in favor of get excited, Oregon State Troopers. Now, are Oregon State Troopers bastards? The answer is yes. Are they better than unidentifiable, unaccountable federal agents? Holy shit, yes. Oh my fucking God, yes. They are so much better. It is unbelievable how much better they are than what the Portland protesters have currently been dealing with. Registered, marked, accountable to the law, and in the deployment of a governor who's nowhere near as interested as cracking down on protesters as Trump is. Yeah, the difference is night and day. Obviously, this doesn't mean the protesters just own Portland now. They're still fighting out there, and they're going to keep fighting. But they have fought back and successfully resisted the most tyrannical imposition of federal power that we have seen in a long, long time. And that is astonishing. That is absolutely fantastic. Now, slight caveat to everything I've just said. 1 hour after the announcement that the feds would be withdrawn, the leader of the DHS said, no, we're going to stay. No, we're staying. We're going to stay. No, rule of law. And what it seems like they were posturing over was the chair of the DHS is reserving feds to protect federal property, which, from what I've looked up and from what I can interpret, means they're literally just going to keep guarding that one fucking courthouse. I think that's it. I think they're just so ass mad about that one fucking courthouse that they're going to keep. And apparently they're going to keep in employment federal bodyguards for like a prolonged length of time. Meaning, as taxpayers, we'll get to spend millions so that some dipshit, unaccountable fucking federal, stormtroopers can sit outside one random fucking courthouse, and just stand there, looking gruff. Like those guards outside Buckingham Palace, the ones with the big hats, just purely ceremonial, wasteful gesture of guarding. So that's great. That's fantastic. Listen, no amount of caveats, no degree of caveats, no size of caveats, none of that can take away from the fact that an overwhelming victory has been achieved. This makes Trump look so fucking weak. After months and months and months of the fascist rhetoric there, we're going to crush these protests, these Antifa super soldiers, we're going to bring... He looks so fucking weak right now. It is insane. And you know why? It is because he was buckling under the increasingly heavy weight of the legal actions being taken against the federal officers that were deployed in Portland. The mechanism for resisting fascism in this case was 50% protesting and 50% the sympathetic legal actions of the educated, the scholarly, the lawful, and of those in institutions of power. And that is how we're going to win through all of this. Thank you, ACLU. Thank you to the judges who recognized this was an imposition on our rights. And that's why, as always, and I always will say this, institutional integration matters. One, not even leftist, one sympathetic liberal. That's it. That's all I'm saying here. Sympathetic liberal in a position of power with regards to a judge appointment can be unfathomably helpful, can for decades protect the civil liberties of the people affected by the decisions that are brought to their desk. So thank you to all those people. Huge fucking shout out to the Portland protesters. Y'all got some giant penises, clitoris, everything you've got. Everything. Every part of your body that you want to be huge is massive. Nipples? I don't care. I don't care. Congratulations. And well done. Seriously. Whatever you're into. Whatever they're into, If they don't want anything to change, that's also totally fine. It's totally up to them. It's totally up to them.